what can you do right now? There's some times where I'm sitting there and it feels like nothing's happening. And so I like to make the use out of all my time. And especially when you're trying to get somewhere and you feel like you're already out of time or you're behind in some way, there are ways that I have made the most out of my moments. And so there are times when I've gone too hard and too fast, and now my shoulder is in a lot of pain, and I don't have extra money to be going to the massage therapist like I used to, and I don't have benefits. So how do I fix my shoulder in order to recover faster? Well, for one, I have to learn how to rest, and for two, so now I'm not going to be doing any of those projects that require me to be physical. So those are off the table. So now I've got about a week or so at least to where I could even get a potential chiropractor appointment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the time to do the thing that I want to do the least, and that is put this ball into my shoulder and do the work myself. It's not fun and it doesn't feel good, but it's something that I have time to do. And in practicing doing the things that you don't want to do, especially when you have the time, this is a flex that you can use later with two birds and one stone, because there's going to be plenty of projects that you have no interest in doing, but they need to be done. And so I've had to practice moving from impulsive, feel-good situations into doing the things and looking at the things that I don't want to address or acknowledge, like the painful truths. This can be painful truths in my situation when I realize I don't have money anymore to be throwing it around and just going in to get a massage unless it's covered, right? These are times, even if you have benefits, you still have to manage those benefits responsibly, right? And so I'm having to learn how to do things on my own to save a buck. And so things like having this ball on hand, I do have this, so I can use this ball and this wall beside me to do an exercise, to do the thing that I really don't want to do. And it'd be much easier if I could just make an appointment and lay on the table and let her do what she's paid to do, which is massage my body and work out the kinks. But the problem is here, when I rely on her to do that, it really takes out the why am I in pain in the first place. And so I have to take time out and be like, how did my shoulder get so bad? Well, it's because the muscles are tight. I didn't stretch. I overworked the muscles and I underworked my abs. From what I understand, the rib subluxation is because the muscles are tight, a rib is out, but and that can be from the muscles, but it can also be like tight muscles, but it can also be from a lack of core strength, from what I'm understanding. Remember, I'm just doing this all on my own. For the most part, I did get some information from my massage therapist, and she said it sounds like you have a rib out with all my symptoms. So that gave me kind of a starting point. I probably wouldn't have had a lot of information, but so I went to one massage, but I can't keep up. So now I got to do my own, right? So I get one bit of information, I'm going to pull that string, and then I got to figure out, okay, so yes, I'm going to fix this myself, but how can I prevent this? Because I don't like being in pain. And when I'm in pain, I also notice it, I get into a headspace where now I feel even further behind, because now I can't do anything. Now I've got all these things. I know now where I want the rocks to go. Before I didn't have an idea. Now I have the knowledge, and now I want to just get them there, right? And that's a lot of times where I get stuck in that, where I'm like, okay, now I feel like I have a clear vision. Now I want to go from A to B, but now I'm paused at 8.5. So I have to look at what can I do in this time. This time I can still do, I can still organize, I can still clean, I can still make videos, I can still learn how to stretch, which is what I really need to learn how to do, is stretch, like really stretch. And before I just started implementing stretching, I started adding it, but I'm not a serious stretcher. And so I need to be more serious about my stretching, right? And then I also learned when I work too hard, I tend to feel the need to either reward myself or go back to not unhealthy substances, but ones that my body don't like. So when I work really hard in the yard, my body feels that need for more nutrition and things like that. And so to me, I get a craving for bananas, but bananas are high in sugar and high in carbs. My body doesn't like that. I really crave dairy items, especially like cheesecake. It's like the protein. I think I'm craving the protein in there. And but at the same time, when I'm in pain, I want comfort. So like when I hurt my shoulder, I want to go to someone who can comfort me but also take care of the pain, right? But in reality, it's a false answer, because I'm not doing anything. If I'm not doing anything about how I receive the pain, I'm still going to receive the pain. And so even going to those items where people will encourage you to have bananas, but if your gut and your body don't respond to sugar because you used it in the past to self-soothe, there's a good chance you overused it, and so now you could have a sensitivity to it now. And so I can't digest dairy right now. I'm working on that by trying to have apple cider vinegar, and before I used to just kind of start out and I'd do it for a couple days and I'd stop because I'm like, oh, it's not that bad, things are kind of going back to normal. And then I realized, no, it's not normal. I touched on something, I didn't complete something, and so I still have to look at where I need more follow through, more consistency, and these smaller behaviors. I dealt with a lot where it was like, toxic people, people I was inviting into my world that were obviously abusive and not healthy for me. Not all abusive, but just not healthy or compatible. But now I have to look at, in my own environment, how am I causing my own problems, my own pain? And so once I'm aware, that's when I can do something about it. But if you make excuses for things, you're like, it's not that bad, it's not that deep, I think if I did this, I could get this. I thought if the more I work my muscles, then I would be able to handle the sugar and the dairy, because I feel like my body's now pulling on that and craving that item, and that they're going to be able to make use of it instead of all that sugar swirling around in my system. That could be true, but for me, it's too soon. And I'm not a doctor. These are just things, I don't have a doctor to work with, so I'm just trying to figure out, like, at one point I could handle sugar and dairy and refined carbs, and my metabolism was better, and I was also exercising, walking 3 hours a day, and then 2 to 3 times a week working out in front of the TV at night, right? I'm not doing that anymore. So why did I think that I could get back in the game too soon with sugar and dairy? I can't. And I have to also acknowledge I have been out of the physical game for a long time. And so while I've had issues with my gut, I also don't know, because I have been aging, and supposedly your aging can affect your gut acids and things like that, and your ability to digest foods that way. So not only have I been in freeze state, which affects my digestion, but I've also been eating things that affect my digestion and the bacteria, the healthy biomes, I guess you would call it, gut, the healthy gut guys. But all these things have affected. So I think that all of a sudden now I have this epiphany and I have a new way, and it's just going to work out like that, and I just need a week and then it's good. Just because you'll see signs of, when I cut out dairy and sugar and refined carbs, my bloating goes down. So I'm like, okay, cool. Maybe we can get some exercise in there for a week or two, and then we'll start bringing those people back in, those substances. It's not gonna work. These things are this is kind of like hermit mode. I thought, some people will think they broke up with the toxic ex, and now they just have to wait, 3 to 6 months, and the next partner that presents is all of a sudden a healthy partner. To me, I attracted that person for a reason, because of how I show up in life, and because of my either lack of information and education, and also because there's something in me that I need to develop, so I know when to cut that off sooner instead of later. And the same thing goes when now I'm addressing my physical health and working out, and also nutrients and things like that, and absorbing them. And while I have had tests in the past to rule out SIBO and things like that of the gut, I don't know that my gut bacteria is where it needs to be. And especially, I don't know enough about that to know whether I just don't know enough about it. And so I'm looking at, I'm having issues with bloating. I feel like I'm in a healthier environment here, but I'm still having the bloating. So some of the bloating was from the trauma that I was experiencing in the environment, but also I'm still responding not great to some sort of ingredients that are healthy. So if I have, even when I have just a protein, I struggle with that. So that's a sign that maybe it's a protein, and maybe that's my enzyme. So I kind of pull the string and go a bit deeper, and then I also realize, okay, this is not gonna get fixed overnight. I need to stay in there longer, because I have been eating healthy for months at a time, where I feel like that should be enough time. I don't, even when I do, there are times when I would binge eat on an item, I would go get ice cream, like a double scoop ice cream cone, and that I felt. I recently tried the A2 milk, thinking that might be different because it's easier to digest. but it's similar to goat milk, and I had trouble with goat milk, but I thought this might be different. It's not. And then I just tried fermented milk, like the kefir, and that is still not making me feel great. And while it does take time for your body to accumulate or acclimate to these things, I also feel like I'm just rushing it still too fast. And so I have to slow it down and do the work and take the time. And I have time right now. And so I do find there are moments in my life where I've been given time, I've been allowed time, I've given myself permission to take time, but you have to make the most out of that time. And it's not just to sit there and pick your nose and be like, hey, this is the time to do renos. It's not time. It's time to take care of me, because I have to do the opposite of what I've been doing in the past. I have to rest, nurture, take time to care about me, when before I would rush in impulsively and give to everybody but me. And so like we have to go to the other pendulum side to come back and then hopefully end up in the middle, where once we've gotten good at revising these things. And so part of this lesson is, what can you do? What do you have? Like sometimes you think, well, I don't have time to rest, I got to make money. Anything you do in that impulsive energy is going to be something impulsive. And it's not going to be long term. And it's going to be settling for something that you actually don't want to do. You're doing it out of fear, and doing things out of fear, for me, have not resulted in positive results. It's resulted in debt. And it's also like doing it for something else. Like if you really ask what you want to do outside of anyone else's opinion, go there. Because there are times when I feel like, well, I think I should be doing this. I think I should be doing that. And sometimes I do feel like the environment is pointing me in a direction where, okay, now it's time to build momentum. I've rested enough, and now it's time to start adding more activity in. And that's giving me a chance to learn how to moderate myself. And at some point, like I've done carnivore, I've done keto, and I'm not against keto, but in reality, I want to benefit from all foods. And so if I want to do that, I have to work my way there. But I also find like when I'm overdoing it with my exercise, that's what brings me back to those other ingredients too soon, too fast, and in too large of an amount. And just the same way as I can like overdo it and thinking, you could overdo anything. If I'm not careful, like I could overdo it with sauerkraut, you know, where I still got a bloat. So I have to, like, I've been going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, where we're coming to the center, okay? Hopefully that's, I don't know how far I am along here. I'm hoping I'm closer than from one end to the other. But the thing is you need that processing. You need to learn what is too much for you and what is not enough. You need to learn that. You need to feel that for yourself and not have somebody else tell you this is good enough. Like if I would have stopped with some of the symptoms and the bloating and just associated like my hair loss and all these things that I was experiencing to age and pre-menopause, I would have stopped and I would have settled, okay? So sometimes you got to go and you got to look for new information. You got to ask your own questions. You got to say, this doesn't make sense. You got to recognize, I would see women that were older than me and were in shape. I see 80-year-old women that are in shape, have muscle tone, and are not bloated. So I'm like, what is different from her than me? You know, you got to question, like, instead of just be like, aren't you curious? I'm curious. Bring back that curiosity and be like, okay, I feel stuck right now. I feel like I can't do anything to change my situation, but there's always going to be something. So if you don't have the financial means, this is time to work on other things. Can you organize your place? You know what? I can make organizational boxes out of cardboard. They don't have to be those fancy ones that are clear and plastic. You can organize you can get rid of things that you no longer need, that are just taking up space. You can practice what you do want to do. If there's something that you are passionate about, like say you like cutting lawns. Maybe you have a dream of being a landscaper, but you're like, I don't have a lawn to cut. Well, you can always get and ask to borrow someone's, and you can get practice. There's lots of people that would love to have you cut their lawn for them, and some of them don't care if it's perfect because they don't have time to do it at all. And so if you come in and say, hey, I'd like to do this, like that's an opportunity. Are you going to get paid? That's not the intention. You're looking to get experience, but you also might get payment as well. Now for me, I'm going to have to know that you know how to work that thing and that you're not going to wreck my equipment. So I don't know. It's like going to be a hit and miss. But there are things that just by you putting yourself out there and now asking and potentially being rejected, you just practiced rejection. So all these things, you think you don't have what you need when you need it. You have time, you have space, use that to your advantage. You know, put yourself out there. If you don't feel like saying hi is easy for you, and you don't feel like you have confidence to speak up on camera, start small. Practice putting yourself out there and saying hello to strangers. Not all strangers are bitches and assholes. There's a lot of kind people out there. There's so many people I've met. It's just the people that I've been trying to create more of a connection that I just haven't done that well. But there are so many people in the meantime that have given me friendly faces. So don't just put yourself into a box. Try to crawl yourself out of that box. And sometimes it means you don't have money, but it does mean you have time and space to exercise aspects of yourself that are required for you to become successful. So you are going to have to get more comfortable talking to people, and you have to get more confident in not caring what other people think. You are going to have to get more comfortable just being yourself and liking what you like without having to explain it. And so all of these things, when you put yourself out there, like if you're watching this right now and you have a phone, you have so many opportunities, and you're like, what? I do? Yeah, you can learn how to be consistent. Make a video. Do you know how many videos are out there? There's so much bullshit out there that people, like, so many, what do you call them I keep forgetting. They're not inspirationalists, what are they? I always get caught up on this. They're not content creators, but they're, I always forget it. It starts with an I. It's like they're not inspirators. There's a, you know what I'm saying? Those people that are out there that are trying to make their money off content, but they're full of shit. Those people. There's lots of people out there making money doing things that, like, I can see. I'm like, I don't even know. I mean, it's part of the process. We have to see that to know what is real and what is not, right? Everyone has a purpose, and I'm not saying that's your purpose, but if you saw the amount of people out there making money, let's just say Temu. Who supplies Temu? Not that we want to be Temu. You have so much more. That's what I mean. Like, you putting yourself in a zone, and you're putting yourself in a place, and you can't even see your value. Are you Temu or are you not? You're not. So you have something to offer. You have some sort of an experience. And if you don't feel like you're there yet, this is a time and space to get the experience, get the practice, get the confidence. And you can do that in other areas while you're trying to get there. Like, anything you do outside of that, that's maybe not even associated with that. Let's just say you're starting to exercise, and you're like, I don't know if I feel uncomfortable socially being outside because I don't like people seeing me. I don't feel good enough. I've been there. I've been there. I go there, and I'm getting better at it. But there are times when I don't even want to be outside in front of people. So what do? I do early in the morning. So maybe now you have to work on your sleep. Well, I can't get up early in the morning because I can't fall asleep until whatever. Okay, what's your caffeine looking like? How much screen time do you have? Are you comfortable sitting in the quiet? You know, are you comfortable turning your lights out at 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. and going to sleep and just lying there? Why don't you do that? Well, because I don't like what enters my head at that time. Well, those are the things that are keeping you from moving forward. So you might have to address those before you can step your foot outside. So there are some things when you go to put yourself in the action, you're going to find I'm not ready for the action, that I have some distractions and I have some growth that is still required before I can fully put my shoes on and get outside. Maybe, you know, if it's a weight thing and you feel like self-conscious about your weight, like I said, you can work on, maybe you're not ready to be outside and walking and stuff, but you can work on, you know, stretching, couch exercises, getting your mobility back, managing what you're eating, because I know when I'm bloated, I don't feel attractive. I don't feel confident. And so that's one of the things, I don't feel like exercising when I'm bloated. So like I've had to, that's where I did go to the carnivore, which, I mean, that has its own issues because now you got to worry about electrolytes and making sure you're getting enough electrolytes, and then you don't have produce, which is part of the fiber that helps move it through your system. And so maybe carnivore isn't for you, but maybe looking at, this is currently what I'm looking at, is like a high protein meats, no bacon, no breakfast sausages, nothing with sugar in it. And I'm looking for the lowest, and all I did was Google, the lowest vegetables, the lowest sugar content in vegetables. I'm not doing fruit right now. I love fruit, but fruit may not be for me right now. And if I'm looking at bloating and that issue and removing the bloating, and then I'm also looking like, am I chewing my food? Am I maybe breaking my meals into 3 meals instead of like just 2 meals? Maybe I'm like breaking it up into 4 meals. Am I walking or moving? If you don't want to walk, you can walk in place. There are things you can do with what you have right now, but you have to start. And sometimes we get in that, I got to get up and be here, when you really have to get up and go here. Consistency. And sometimes you got to get bumped back and try again, and then bump back. And sometimes you need to rest for a bit because you went from woo for too long and too fast. And even though it was just walking, you're not used to walking. And so you need to get your body used to movement before you can walk. And sometimes you just got to rest and be like, okay, I thought I could, it's because I get that burst of energy when I do get so sick of my own shit. I'm like, okay, I'm going to walk. And then I walk for an hour and a half, and I'm like, okay, that was too much. And so I have to learn to, now maybe I'm just going to walk my dogs twice a day and get good with that. And once I don't feel sore from that, now I can maybe try walking on my own with my own music, because it feels nice to just, the dogs still are like work to me in a way. And so sometimes I just like to walk and enjoy my music. And so without the restraint of the dogs pulling on their leashes, like sometimes I just want to walk for me. And so things like that can really help you accomplish your goals. And sometimes we think we just have to jump there, but all these steps in between are teaching you not only but patience, resilience. Failure is not a no, it's just not right now. We need to revise, we need to do something different, we need to maybe bring it back. Or sometimes we do need to, like when you get bored, you're like, okay, I'm bored, nothing is happening. Okay, are you bored because you actually have time and you're not doing what you need to do with it? Sometimes you're out of your resting phase and you're meant to build momentum. And so that's important for you to get in touch with what you need instead of listening to what other people tell you should be doing. That is a muscle flex that you have to build as well. Because it's easy to get caught up in like, you know what, I don't see money coming in right now, I don't have time to rest, and the world tells me I should be grabbing a job right now, but I still do have some money. But I can look around at my house and say, I need that money for renovations, or, maybe I think I should be socializing because that's what the world tells me to do. And really for me, hermit mode has been, I have my kids in my life on and off because they're working on their own worlds, and we connect every here and there. But for the most part, it's just been me, myself, and I, and two puppies. And I don't know that puppies and pets are always a great, if you don't have them, I wouldn't go get them. I find that I've worked them into my life and turned that into something more positive. But I think if I didn't have the dogs, well, they do give me a reason to get up and move, because I feel like I'm not providing what they deserve. At the same time, they are an extra overwhelm of work when I've already been overworked. So if you're thinking you need a dog to walk in order to walk, I would not recommend that. But that's just me. I already have the dogs, and now I'm having to, it's an extra ball I have to juggle. And while I am like feeding them real food and taking care of them, I still I'm not caring for them 100% like I would like to. So, but they're already there, so now I have to deal with it, and now I want to try to give them better. And I'm learning how to train dogs with them. So there's a number of things that can be happening while you're in the action, and just starting when you feel like you have nothing. And like I said, like I've told people before, I have a pile of 200 Oracle cards there, and the majority of them cost like $20 to $30 per deck. I don't feel drawn to them anymore. So sometimes, like as an entrepreneur and someone who's working to be independent, you have to spend money to make money, and that is an expensive mistake. And it is what it is. It's part of learning how to forgive yourself and move forward, and not get too caught up in that. So just try to start small. Start making your bed today. If that's a struggle, if your bed is not made, just start with that. Like before you start the exercise in your body, like you may have to realize like you are coming from a huge deficit in nutrition. And so to think that you're just gonna have the energy to start all of a sudden starting an exercise regime, and you can't keep up with the dishes, and you can't keep your house clean, and you can't walk your dogs, like that's an unrealistic expectation. For me, I've had to start smaller and build myself up and get good with certain things. And sometimes like there's something where, you know what, this is not working for me right now, so I need to focus elsewhere. And so like if you're like thinking I can't even handle that, maybe I just want to rest. Maybe it's a resting period. Maybe you're not meant to exercise. If you don't feel like you have the energy, maybe you need to rest more because you've been overworked for so long, and you just need to learn how to get your basic energy up through your electrolytes, through iron, through a healthy sleep pattern, you know, like removing those items, like just removing junk food. Like I wouldn't, if I'm still struggling with junk food, I probably wouldn't look into my exercise quite yet, because it's going to be a lot just to try to moderate your eating habits. That's already a huge ask. And so sometimes we do too much all at once and we fail and flop at everything. And so it's just trying to start small. If you want to be in shape but you are tired and overworked, you gotta remove some responsibilities. You gotta prioritize. You gotta organize and clean. And once you've done that, that's momentum and movement. And then you gotta look at, what do I want to eat and what can I eat and how can I support my health? And then I would also look at then, like with the apple cider vinegar, looking into helping your digestive enzymes so your body can absorb that as well. And then I would start, once you are feeling like you can do small tasks around the house, then you can start walking and things like that and adding that into your schedule, and just moderate that by like how much you can do at a time. And so I know there are sometimes when I get so sick of my shit, I'm like, I just want to revise everything, you know, and I think that's what they refer to as a glow up. But for me, I haven't been able to maintain a glow up because it's too fast and furious. And to me, a glow up sounds fast and furious. For me, I want to create long-term change. And what that means is going slow and consistently and building habits instead of impulsive, like sort of decisions based on someone else's expectation and acceptance from others. And honestly, I had to really focus on why I was doing things, because I knew when I was doing something for validation in the way that I was hoping to prove my haters wrong, I would make a lot of impulsive decisions based on that and them. And I realized they're not paying my bills. They are never going to see me accurately or truthfully. So it didn't matter if I stayed down or got up. Either way, they're going to judge me and come to their own conclusions. And so I had to really focus on me. What do I need right now? What do I need to do for me? Do I want to be in a banging body because I just broke up with my ex? Yeah, but how is that going to serve you by rushing back into something when you need rest first, when you need recovery, when you need to purge the emotions, and you need to end up, why were you with that ex in the first place? Or else you're just going to rush right back into it. So pay attention when you're looking for something from somebody else. When you're looking to do something for someone else's recognition, those are signs I'm looking for validation and I'm looking to prove my haters wrong, and those are signs of rushing. So if you're tired, stay down and rest. But pay attention to that. Go get your blood checked. Go talk to a doctor about that. You know, I haven't had a lot of positive experiences with doctors, but they have given me the base to go off of to where I can come to some of my own conclusions. Because remember, like, I've been financially struggling this whole period, right? So we don't have time to go paying these people. Like, some people are just not good at their job, and they don't care. And some people are. And so for me, I just haven't had an abundance of doctors that really are invested in helping their patients, unfortunately, or they're just limited. You know, maybe they don't feel comfortable like giving advice if it's outside of their expertise, but they may know it, but they can't give it. I don't really know. But this is something that I've had to do, and it's helped me when I rely on myself to come up with my own answers and heal myself to a certain degree, because like I said, we still need doctors, we still need licensed professionals in certain areas. I have to say that. But I found a lot of, I'm working through a lot of building my confidence when I can do something for myself, when I can become more independent, when I become stronger in my body and my mind. That also develops that confidence that you're looking for, and you can apply that later in life in your relationships, in your projects. So all these things kind of come together as you're working through them and revising them. And yeah, I think that's helpful in moving forward. So just because you feel like you don't have something that somebody else does, remember that could be their mask, that could be their facade. They could have settled. To me personally, I remember watching a lot of readers that get stuck in a lot of toxic belief systems, to where I had to realize, like, I don't believe that, and I found that really it kept me stuck. And I found that in religion as well, and just in life in general. So like, find your own way, find your own path, but you gotta listen to yourself, and you gotta do it for you and not for anybody else. And so that means asking, why am I doing what I'm doing? and why am I doing that right now? And why do I feel I need it right now? Like, don't get me wrong. I wish I had thousands of dollars to build the sunroom off the back of my house and renovate my house completely. But to make fast money like that, I'd have to do things that I don't want to do and I'm not willing to do. And I'm not willing to settle for money and men when they don't have good intentions and it's used to control me. So guess what? I got to make my own money. And I got to learn that. And it's hard because I got to take care of my health first before I can really make that money. But in repairing my health and my to work towards my wealth, I'm learning a lot of things that I'm going to be able to use, and those developing habits that I'm going to be able to apply later. And that is what you don't see. It's like you think you're so far gone, but you can do two birds and one stone it if you work on your health and then apply those same lessons and things and ideas and habits to your wealth. Okay, so don't think you're behind, but you do have to take time, and taking time is what's going to save you time, remember. And then you also, while working on your health and working on your wealth, you're going to give yourself all those extra things where some of these people have raced into rooms and settled, and while it seems like they're winning now, they're not going to have a great after half of their health. Like, nobody wins with diabetes. Okay, that's not a happy place to live. Wondering if your toe is going to fall off, that's not a great place. Feeling bloated, no, I know what I feel like when I'm bloated. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. How do you, I don't know. There's a lot of things I associate with kind of dis-ease. It's not a good place to be, and one thing after the other, right? So like, you want to take care of this sooner than later, so then your one thing after the other is more of like a, wow, I'm building off of something instead of continually breaking down something. So that's my opinion. Hopefully this helps. Be sure to like and subscribe if you need some sort of support along the way of growing, because it takes time. It takes a long time. Trust me, I'm doing it. I've been there. I'm still there. I'm still hanging on. I've been trying to do this since 2020, and I've learned that I have a lot to learn. But I'm doing it, and I'm putting it into practice. I'm trial and erroring, and I'm giving all that information that I have to you guys in hopes that it'll help you not give up. But sometimes we have to give in and take a break and take a rest and then get back at it, okay? So you can do this, and you will do this if you choose to, okay? It all has to do with you making that choice and hanging in there. Like I said, sometimes we gotta acknowledge we can't right now. Sometimes we have to let some steam because we put too much pressure on ourselves. But that doesn't mean we're not doing it, and it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Just acknowledge it could be taking longer than anticipated, but it means you're doing it the right way for the right reasons, and it's going to benefit you and yours. Okay, thanks for watching. There are ways to support me in the comment and in the description box financially. If you're comfortable and capable, that's appreciated but not expected. Like, subscribes do help my channel grow, which is what I'm looking to do right now, and help me support you by supporting me in the comment section, in the likes, and by sharing. And if you don't want to share publicly, I totally understand. You can copy, you can share it to your email, your own text message. I do that sometimes just to bookmark things, and that counts as a share. So anything is appreciated, and I will see you in the next one. You got this.